Hi, my name is Donna Vivar, she, her pronouns, and I'm the manager of advising strategy and training. And our program was able to engage with POD, our strategic planning process.
And I'm Liza Schlosser-Olroyd, and I support communications and events for advising strategy and training, and was also a participant in the strategic planning process.
I knew that we were in desperate need of scoping out the work that we do here in AS&T and develop our strategic priorities as I was coming into this role as the new manager of advising strategy and training. I filled out a consultation request form that I found on the website and got a response and a meeting on the calendar, I think within 24 hours. So it was such a seamless process and fantastic resource for all of campus. The advantage of having a framework to work from and the strategy toolkit that was developed, I think the framework really gave us a process to contain what seemed like a really large task. I don't know about you, but thinking about strategic planning processes, I can get overwhelmed right away, and being able to have it organized in really bite-sized pieces made it feel so much more manageable, and kind of took me from like a frozen moment of like, oh my gosh, do I start this, to being able to take action on something that was really important for us.
So, as part of the strategic planning process that we went through for the advising strategy and training program, we participated in the strategic planning proposal exercise. And this process helped us to get all on the same page about each of our program offerings and processes and really prioritize those action plans to understand what is within the current scope of our program and to help us dedicate the time and resources to those things that we all agree are high priorities. And so that process was just really helpful to get us all on the same page around how to prioritize all of those resources, time, personnel, etc. And I'll say that one of the incredibly positive impacts of engaging with the strategic planning process was that we walked away as a program with a clearly defined current scope for this program, which has been absolutely instrumental in helping us to prioritize projects, resources, and requests in even just the few months since we completed this process. So it has been immensely helpful. And if you are thinking about engaging in a strategic planning process with Pod, we encourage you to run, don't walk to get your process started today. And it has been immensely helpful for each of us who participated in the process and for our program overall.
Hello, my name is Laura Riley. My pronouns are she, her, and I'm director of the clinical program at the law school here at Berkeley. I started at Berkeley in January, and one of my responsibilities is to create a strategic plan. So I was lucky to find out about this partnership early on in my journey, and I'm really glad that I did. So first, it was really helpful because Colin was able to provide sort of a framework and sort of talk me through sort of what we could be working towards. Secondly, I think being able to partner with him in the process was really helpful. It's nice to be able to work with someone who's not in the same area as me. So not someone who's a supervisor, not someone who's a report, who can really give objective feedback. So he's really acted as a thought partner with me, both sort of the skeleton framework, but also being able to provide examples in different areas. So a couple of our back and forth via emails was asking, hey, I was wondering if you could share some examples of how people, wrote their objectives in a certain way, and sort of being able to gather some examples that would be the best points of reference were really helpful. There was a lot of opportunity to dialogue and have conversation about what made sense for the group that I'm working with, because obviously not everything is one size fits all. And it was helpful to be able to talk through what process worked for me to build the strategic plan within our team, and then also how to sort of then map that out onto something that can be measurable. I sort of think of a strategic planning process as an extended reflection process, and then with an end point of having a document or a set of documents that sets out measurable ways to track outcomes. So, I really view it as a meaningful and collaborative process within the team that I work on, and appreciate that that was available. And I'm happy to answer questions from anyone who wants to learn a bit more about how I worked with the team.